Welcome everyone. Unreal Engine today and a bit of Blender as well. Um, Admittedly, because it's been a while since I did this, I've forgotten partially how it's captured. It's some sort of window capture, but I don't think it's perfect. So if it has any issues, then I'll switch to. Let me think of the word. Oh yeah, I will switch to the desktop scene. I just have to be a bit more careful then about what I show. So yeah, that's fine. So yeah, I was a bit confused on my OBS because I have it set to show the preview scene as well as the scene that's live, and I was confused because I was looking at the preview scene sources, not the live scene sources. So, yeah. Anyway, so a little bit of background on this project. It only started earlier this week. I'll come out of this landscape mode for a second. Yeah, earlier this week, just looking on YouTube at some stuff, and somebody had come up with, I think, a fairly new method for importing an Unreal Engine real landscape. I thought, well, okay, let's give this a try. And surprisingly enough, it worked, and the landscape is of reasonable quality. And there was also a method for putting an overlay image on. Should I hit G? You can see this is the overlay image that has the map view of the roads and such. Yeah, quite good really. Trying to say. Oh yeah, it's also got some layouts of some buildings and such, but yeah, mainly it's a decent quality sort of reference for where the roads need to go, and then I can just go off of images, real images of the various places for finer details. And essentially what I've been doing the last sort of 24 hours is customizing the road markings on the roads. So if I kind of show that off, go back into landscape, manage, splines, and just select this one here. See, you have the mesh, but then you also have the material overrides, and essentially all these are, if I navigate to that object, there are a series of material slots for different parts of the road, and basically you set what you want to change as tarmac, and then here you actually go in and say, okay, in the center I want a solid white line, on the outside I want the yellow line, and on this side you can go with other variations of lines as well. And then the other thing, kind of new to, but had more success doing it this time than other times, is making particular objects for junctions. So like here, this is a junction. The connection points on it are slightly off at the moment for some reason. Here's another junction example where it goes from 2 lanes to 4, and you can use that in the opposite direction as well. 4 lanes to 2, and another one which I particularly like is the roundabout, which that was just made with taking a plane in Blender and halving it, and then pulling up this way, pulling it this way, and then beveling it, and then mirroring it on the X and Y, and then filling in the surface in the middle, and then adding in some objects and objects to the outside. And that works quite well, as it turns out. Because the alternative to this is, well, let's say you've got your 4 roads here, and you say, okay, I'll make a junction here, junction here, junction here, and then connect them up. It can work, but I find this method of just having an object that's the shape you want easier than trying to manipulate your various objects that aren't that shape. And I mean, how the connections work, I can show you that with, I'll show you the roundabout, yeah. If we go into the socket manager, there are these points, labeled front, back, left, right, and they're essentially positioned, or meant to be positioned, in the middle of the road at the right height, and that just allows the road, or the object, sorry, to connect to it here, 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 and here. And so yeah, the sort of plan for the stream is a little bit of, at least on the Unreal side, just in this immediate area, putting the road markings in place, which on these roads I think I've already done. Yes, I have already done them on this one. I could still play around with them if I need to. Oh yeah, this bus stop is an asset from Sketchfab, but I will probably make others, because having the same one, the hole in the whole, you know, thing, is a bit boring. Some of the UVs on it are a little bit messy. Like that there should be on there, but anyway, yeah, so we'll go to this bit of road here, because we haven't set up, or I haven't set up any material overrides for this, so we'll start with this piece here. We'll go back into the landscape mode, and I'll start setting up those material overrides. Okay, so I'll just go into sculpt mode here to get rid of a bit of the landscape. This is a auto landscape material I'm using for now, but the customization of it is different, shall we say, than a regular or a non-auto landscape, so I will probably play around with that at some point. But for now it's kind of like, you know, very early stages of the project, so I'm attempting is the keyword there, not to get hung up on so many little details, but yeah. Okay, so just something to think about here is whether or not I want a line on this side, and the answer is probably not. So I should stick to, depending on what way the road has fallen, it would seem, doing just one side at a time. So yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, so that's probably what I want actually, so just need to swap this one around a bit. Okay, I'm back. Hit my transition button. So yeah, we'll just continue doing a bit of material overrides and go from there really. Oh yeah, the roundabouts and junctions, I've not put in any material slots for those yet. That's something I do at some point, but not too big of a priority at the moment, I would say. So we'll just do this little bit and these bits, and then I think I'm gonna work on a couple of pavements in this area, and then perhaps experiment a bit with some buildings from OSM in Blender, because purely for a first version I just would like some objects in game. They don't have to be very detailed or anything, and then kind of as I go start replacing them kind of thing with more detailed objects that I make, but start out with the basic just objects, something so there's something to look at more than anything. If there was a way to copy the overrides, that could save a bit of time. Maybe there is, but I've not seen a way to do it, or that's obvious, so I kind of just bear down and do it this way. But yeah, it's kind of therapeutic in a weird kind of sense. Let me show you the material. What it means by MI material instance. So if I go to my materials folder, essentially the way I used to do this is I'd have said, okay, so let's set up a material for this, let's set up a material for this and this and this and so on and so forth. But a smarter way to do it that's better for organization, resources and stuff is to set up a master material and then create instances of that material, and then you only have to change a few things versus setting everything back up again. So in this case, for the road lines, I have this m_master material trans, and if we click on that, you basically have got 3 sections here. And the main difference in this one and others is there's a thing going from the alpha channel of the color or the diffused texture into the opacity of this. Oh, and also the settings for this are slightly different as well. It's a translucent for blend mode, and then the lighting mode is surface translucency volume versus volumetric non-directional, which only lets you have base and opacity. The other options allow you to take advantage of the rest. And it just gives the texture a bit more detail and such. For whatever reason, this one is not hooked up. So let me hook that up. And effectively, these are all parameters that when you right click and you go create material instance and it creates one of these are all options you can then select. So in this case the default color for this is yellow, and what I would have done in the old days is I'd have said, okay, let's take this thing into Paint and add a color tint and all this kind of stuff to get it to the color I want, versus now I just enable the base color and say apply a red tint to it, and now I have a red line, or I can make it orange or any color I can think of, and yeah, it's quite good in that sense. So yeah, ending up with only a few master materials and then yeah, several material instances just feels a lot better. So anyway, I think what I'll do now is try and put in some pavements, which I have an object had for years from the Quixel Bridge days, now called Fab, ironically, which I put in, well, for example over here, this pavement, it's not fully adjusted yet, but that's what I put in for, roads where essentially I wanted to have that customizable and not put in a pavement as standard like on this bit of road. There can be advantages to both, disadvantages, but kind of using a hybrid approach, I guess you could say. So yeah, let's start. Let's finish off what we're doing over here. I put one down here that still needs a bit of adjustment, as you can see, but more just to get it in place. So I'll start. I'm gonna go. There's a way I could copy and mirror. That would be ideal. But yeah, turn back on the overlay and adjust this a bit. Yeah, okay. And we'll start putting down some points to use. We only need to put a couple down to go in and untick scale to width and then add the element, and we can just put median in, and we can choose any one of these. Doesn't matter too much, but yeah, we'll select that one for now. And again, I won't adjust it till it's all in place fully, so just do something very basic for now. Yeah, something like that, and then we'll just trace this along the outside of the road. Go from there. I mean, there would be a way to do this if you only wanted, say, pavement on one side. You could put it, well, you could either make a spline that has it only on the left or the right, or just the left and then flip it. Is another way you can do it, but this way seems to work okay, and choose the assets you want to do that with. Although you can also with this one, with the other method I mentioned. So yeah, all things to consider really, and potentially do that other method where you attach the pavement to your mesh only on one side or the other, and then just swap it for that. Does mean you have less spine points down. But yeah, I say do what works for you, what you're happy with. And I would say I'm happy with this. I suppose I'm just anticipating the comments of, well, why did you do it this way, and all of that. So yeah, preempting that, I guess you could say. Oh yeah, we'll go with that for now. It doesn't look too bad. There's some foliage we just gotta remove with the tool to not have random rocks in places and stuff. But yeah, so we'll do the same thing. Yeah, same thing on here, but we'll do this side first because not so far to go. So we'll turn the overlay back on with G, what I'm using. And I realised looking at this now, there's a couple of small sections here I missed doing the material overrides with, so let's do that now. I'll add them in. Oh yeah, a little end bit of road here that I put in just for it to be there more than anything. I mean, admittedly, when I sort of say with this, let's put in multiple routes with the current system, that would basically involve making a level for each route, which is probably not the best for resources. So eventually, got to work out a method of adding in multiple routes, as it were, to one level, and I can then expand the splines on whatever the road network I want to is. But I will for completely different areas, have a different level. Just because I don't want 100 kilometers square bit of landscape. I think more than 30 feels a bit mad. This current one is 12, and even that's a bit like wow. So yeah. I added in the overrides there before I added in my mesh and then realised I don't need the overrides because I'm just doing the pavement here, not the road. Brain on autopilot there. But I did get to untick scale to width, so that. I mean, even if you tell of Z scaling with this, it's still quite big, even if you go to like half size. I mean, it could be useful in some respects to have that wider pavement for this. Yeah, just leave that at 1. But for other scenarios, the scaling it a little bit, not ridiculous amounts, but a little bit could be useful. Let me just try something with this lot. Yeah, we'll select a couple of sections to do this. So let's do the scale. Well, yeah, we'll do the scale to width. We'll turn off the Z scaling and we'll put this to 0.3 on both these axes. Although I'm not convinced that first one makes a great deal of difference, but if we do that, oh, obviously makes some difference then. It's how much the top sticks out. If we, oops, shift select that lot, move it over, turn off the overlay and see how it looks. It doesn't look too bad. So potentially it's an option to keep it that size, although it looks a bit strange with the whole not matching this bit here, but that's okay potentially, because we'll apply that to the rest of this. So that was 0.3. Okay. After I've done this, I think I'll look at some of the OSM stuff, the building stuff in short, and see how that all goes. There is a bit of a bug here sometimes where it looks like there's two objects due to, I'm not exactly sure what it's due to, probably a rendering issue I would imagine, but yeah. Okay, yeah, that's fine for now. We'll just do a bit of foliage removal. And then we will, I suppose the question is, how am I going to do this? Probably have to bring up another window capture, but we'll work on that. Yeah, so oops, a daisy. There we go. So now you see in Blender. So you just need to make a decision about new file or what. Oh wow, this is an old file. Oh yeah, when I was trying to do everything in Blender and bring it over to Unreal. Wow, crazy. Fence there and all sorts. Okay, so potentially for this I could bring in something to do with. Oh yeah, I was trying to put this in sections as well for that all to work, but yeah. Okay. I have a little thing here. Because this sort of section I would be quite happy to bring buildings into this and export them. What I can't remember is, do I have the OSM pad enabled? I suspect I probably don't, but no. Okay, so let me go and I'll download that because it won't take very long. Always going to Gumroad to get stuff that's other than a certain something feels a bit like, like, yeah, just in my library I got this Blender add-on, and then, oh, don't look at that thing over there. There we go, now I've got Blossom in my list, so yeah, so I don't know if this is $2D or $3D. Probably $2D is what I want. Yeah, okay, let's give that a try. It might fail for one reason or another, but we will. Oh, no, I think it is this one we want. Okay, cool. 2D would be for like geometry nodes, but yeah, we just want the basic thing for now, I believe, because I think we've been geometry nodes thing. I'd have to do a little edit, but the buildings do look a bit different, less basic, but there you go. Now let's try this. Oh, valid directory for data not set. Okay. Let me remember how to do that. I think that's in the preferences for the add-ons. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. So let's work out where we want this. Yeah. Okay, so I think I need to get something else as well, but that's okay. Okay, let's try this again. Yeah, that is what I wanted. Don't think it's put any materials on them, has it? But no. But essentially 2 slots I can use, put something on there with probably only something basic. But in theory that's similar to similar terrain to what we have now. So potentially we can export this for now and go from there. Yeah, origin points in the center, so that should be okay for now. So you can't actually see this bit, but that's okay. Close that, I'll switch my thing back to Unreal. And I will have a break in a few minutes. It's coming up on an hour, but then we'll continue. So we already have a buildings folder, but I'll create a folder in this just called OSM, and we'll import that file. Okay, a couple of things I just remember having to do. Oh yes, yeah, 2 things. So the first is right clicking and for nanite disabling that, because that just causes some strange object artifacts in low poly objects, which most of mine are. And then the other thing is in the details panel, going down to the collision settings and changing it from project default to use complex collision, because if we change this view to player collision, it's essentially all one big massive collision. So yeah, we need to change that to this so we can actually put the buildings down and they won't be so much in the way. So yeah, it'll just be getting the orientation right and sort of working with our layout, because our layout's slightly different but could still work in some respect. So let's pull these out and then do some orientating, as they say. Yeah, essentially just need to work out what's where, what goes where. Okay, so yeah, we're essentially looking for some. Okay, I think this needs flipping again. 180 odd degrees. We might not be too far off. Let's bring it down a bit further. If there was an OSM for Unreal, that would be kind of funny. Because it's so big, I'm going to increase my camera speed. Just so I can get a bit of visualization here. This is very roughly what it should be, but see some of it does go off the map. That's fine. Guessing bring this probably that way a bit. Probably a bit more rotation. Okay, more rotation. Again, probably because of the way we've based it. It's sort of, yeah, not 100% how we wanted it, but kind of 80% perhaps. So that's, yeah, closer than it was, but yeah, still not 100%. But not too far off necessarily. So I'll bring it down somewhat. Yeah, I'll do it like that. Okay, so some room for adjustments in places, because if I turn on my overlay, yeah, right. But yeah, feels quite different with all these buildings in place, eh? But yeah, so majority of these buildings just kind of there, and then, you know, as you go along, kind of replace them with more detailed ones. But yeah. Anyway, whoops. Managed to minimize everything. That's been just over an hour. So let me take a quick break, and I'll be back in just a few. Okay, I'm back. Do this a bit. Okay. So potentially, yeah, either orientation of some of these things needs changing a bit, or something like that kind of works. But I guess, yeah, just need to consider, yeah, location of other things. I mean, a lot of these objects over here we're not even using, so, you know, it doesn't matter if they're a bit off. So most of that's kind of okay, not in the way kind of thing, so, you know, we'll perhaps go with that for now. Just need to have a think about what we'll do with these buildings here. Oh, that's interesting. I'll bring this road here more that way. See how that works. It's the only thing is the whole pavement situation there is a bit interesting, but just for a bit of a concept, I guess. Yeah, leave that for now. So just ignoring the things for now. Potentially that's more like what we want. Oh, thanks for the follow there. Where is Koopy? Welcome in. Appreciate you joining. I'm just moving some roads about at the moment, so don't mind me, as they say. Yeah, I think that's actually a bit better. Just might need to move some stuff around over here. Yeah, potentially wherever we put it, you know, some of it's going to be somewhat in the way. But yeah. Yeah, have a think about all that. But yeah, more just getting something in place for now. That rotating might help a bit. Although a kind of reference point like there is probably useful. Yeah, kind of liking that. Based on what I'm seeing, yeah. Yeah, all things to think about. So I suppose now we got that in, roughly in position. We have a quick look at the materials. Because I guess for like the walls, I want to guess these objects aren't UV mapped. So if I just put in a concrete material, it's not going to look particularly great. So potentially, how hard would it be to UV these? Well, they're just not UV mapped at all at the moment, so let's fix that. I won't switch back for this because it's quite a small process, but yeah. Yeah, so obviously not a UV map meant for anything too good, but you know, anyway. So we'll re-export that, and I'll show you the trick of re-importing with the same file name. There we go. So now, potentially, if I set that to concrete, it doesn't look terrible, but I might switch it to the other one because this one maybe looks a bit more like a building concrete. So yeah, no, it honestly doesn't look terrible. And the thing I think I'm just struggling with a bit at the moment is the whole orientation and how I'll have to adjust the roads, something like that. But I kind of knew that anyway, based on some things I was doing before. But yeah, it's okay. I mean, yeah, just needs some adjustments. It'd kind of go from there. I mean, it doesn't exactly match the terrain, but that's kind of okay because we're just going for something that works, I guess, effectively. Just trying something else in Blender real quick. Actually, I'll switch back my thing for this because it might take a couple of minutes. Find the scene. Yeah, just seeing how the Buildify version looks and whether would it be any easier to navigate in, although yeah, might have to do something else with that to realise the objects and make them exportable. But currently my thing's sat here, so it's loading some stuff in. Yeah, switch back to Unreal while it's doing that in the background. Probably working quite hard, but tell by me performance at the moment in my OBS it's like really struggling. Do a bit more adjustment of some roads here. Yeah, trying to do that and this. Trying to do that and this at the same time is maybe not the best idea. Still, it's kind of funny to watch, I guess. Let's try selecting landscape mode. Okay, just got an out of memory error. Which is fair enough with what I'm trying to do in the background, but yeah, my thing's just crashed. Whoops. Okay, let's not restart until Blender's done its thing. Which is currently spinning, so, you know. Oh well. Okay, yeah. Based on what's happening, I think I should probably finish up stream here before I break anything else. Oh, actually, it's come back. Coming back anyway. Oh yeah, just crashed as well. So it's... yeah, we'll retry that again, see what happens. No, I think I've killed the program for now. Okay, yeah, let's end it here. Thanks everybody for watching and the support, I do appreciate it. I'll be back again next week at some point. And yeah, till then, bye for now.